America is now fighting the war on terror. Not long ago, they were fighting the communists on battlegrounds across America's own backyard in Central America to the jungles of Southeast Asia. Today, the Americans are gone, but they've left their mark. El Salvador is the most dangerous country in Latin America. 1 in 3 of its residents is a victim of violent crime, most of it gun-related. My guide is Eddie Ramirez, a former gang member who was living in the US until he got 8 years for assault and then got deported. National elections have just been held, and the ruling Arena party have won a 4th term in office.
So this is Zona Rosa, which is like, looks just like Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles, the posh bit near Beverly Hills. The only difference here is that every single shop, even McDonald's and Blockbuster Video, has got a guy with a pump-action shotgun who's on about $125 a month.
Downtown San Salvador doesn't look like Beverly Hills.
So Easter weekend, they're saying between the 3rd and 10th of April, there were 54 homicides, and they think 43 of them were gang-related.
Yeah, because this is El Salvador. They're violence. They love to kill, just for fun. People get killed every day. People die every day.
Yeah.
Those are MS territory, man.
MS?
MS.
What's MS stand for?
MS stands for Mara Salvatrucha. It's a Salvadorian gang.
So this area belongs to one of 2 gangs who mark their territory with graffiti.
Shotguns. Yeah. All legally. Man, look.
The other gang is called 18th Street, Eddie's old gang.
Yep. This is 18th Street neighborhood. That's what it says in the wall, man. 18th Street, man.
That's your gang, isn't it?
It is.
So you feel safe here?
Yeah, I do, man. Because they ain't gonna try to do nothing to me, you know?
As part of a law called Iron Fist, anyone seen in public with tattoos can be arrested and locked up. So gang members have to wear long-sleeve shirts or stay off the streets altogether.
Even here, the police will come into this neighborhood, and if they see one guy with tattoos, then...
Yeah, they take him to jail or beating him up, you know? Yo les digo a ellos que las muertes que han estado sucediendo ahorita, ¿va? Con eso que decapitados y todo eso, puta, no tiene que haber sido nosotros, ¿me entiendes? O los...
Superwoman. Wonder Woman, even.
18th Street is in Los Angeles, but none of these kids have ever actually been there. They still chose to show their allegiances and get initiated into a gang when they were just children.
Muchas gracias.
Vemos. Mucho gusto. Vemos, pues.
Back of there.
What they got in the back?
It's like a hammock. A stretcher.
Stretcher?
So this street is the street that splits.
Exactly.
18th MS.
If you go down this way, it's 18th Street.
Yeah.
If you're going around here, it's MS.
But these kids here, there's 2 young guys there, they could be...
They could be, you know. Yeah, why
So
not?
what are they going to do if they see you and the guys in the back?
They're going to kill us. They're going to try to kill us, man.
Gangs have made life so miserable for many Salvadorans that a special police unit has been created to combat them. They're heavily armed and shootouts are common.
So we're on our way with about 10 heavily armed police officers to an area where there are lots of 18th Street gang members, apparently very violent and crazy. Although the lieutenant who's in charge here has told us that it's been a very quiet day so far because there haven't been any homicides yet. What? There, isn't it? There's more MS there. It's dead ahead.
There is an arrest within hours when the police find a gang member called Tadpole, who they know well.
¿Qué tal? He took part in the killing of 2 policemen. There was a gang clash in this area. 2 policemen died and this gang member was involved.
Long before 18th Street and MS, El Salvador was facing another crisis that made the gang problem pale in comparison. By the time it had finished, over 75,000 people were dead.
Oh, this is a helicopter pad.
Eddie was conscripted into the army in the early 80s, before his family helped him escape to America.
So the government forces are actually on foot, coming up this mountain.
Exactly. So they were coming up, and that's what the trenches right there.
People were killed here.
They were killed here, yeah. I was inside the Air Force, but we were not part of the Air Force. We were from the 3rd Battery.
But what did the training involve?
Killing people.
Because they said that to toughen you up, they'd make you witness torture, execution.
All that.
You did that?
A little bit of everything, man.
Well,
but sometimes I don't like to talk about that too much, man, because, you know, I really don't like to remind myself what I went through, you know.
But others want to tell the world what they went through. In the village of El Mazote, there is a shrine for the 767 civilians who were massacred by the US-trained Atlacat battalion. Rufina Amaya was one of only 2 survivors.
Were they warned that the army were going to be conducting an operation very close by?
If they knew that?
Yeah.
¿Y ustedes sabían que el gobierno iba a entrar aquí con todo el ejército?
Hubiéramos sabido, lo hubiéramos ido.
They say if they could have knew that something like that was going to happen, they could have left.
The army suspected the villagers of supporting the guerrillas.
So the army's policy here was called taking the water away from the fish. They thought if you massacred as cruelly as possible anyone even suspected of supporting the guerrillas, and showed them that the guerrillas can't protect them if they are supporting them, that eventually no one would dare support the guerrillas, and they can't exist without support, well, the fish cannot exist without the water. The commander who led this attack admitted later on that was his policy, and admitted that it didn't work, and it actually led to an increase, a massive increase, in support for the guerrillas.
Solo para eso, que trae el avión.
Oh, she's saying they're machine gun bullets from a fighter plane.
Oh.
Se encuentran buscándolo así. Aquí están.
The huesos is bones, human bones. So the little girls know what happened here and know where to find little bits of bones.
Rufina lost 21 family members, including her husband and her 4 daughters, the youngest of whom was just 8 months old.
And could you hear your own children?
Cuando usted oía que estaban llorando todos los
Sí,
niños.
que lloraban los niños cuando los estaban matando, era que me la tristeza, pero yo me quería salir de aquí porque no quería escuchar los gritos de mis hijos, porque yo escuchaba los gritos cuando decía, mamita, Rufina, los están matando con cuchillo, con balas y en la huilla los niños. Esa era la tribulación que ellos presentaban.
She said that she heard when her kids were crying and they were screaming her name, saying, Mom, Mom.
Y no podía llorar porque me iban a escuchar.
Okay, she said, Mom, 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 you know, they're killing us, you know, they have knives. And they have weapons, you know, and then she said that she was crying there, you know, like, it was something going on her heart, you know, that it was.
Esa era la tristeza mía, yo me quería salir para no escuchar.
She said that she wanted to get out to the place where she was hiding because, you know, she heard her children were getting killed, man.
The Reagan administration denied a massacre had taken place here. They didn't want anything to get in the way of them giving aid to the Salvadoran government, because they thought if that happened, the communist guerrillas would win. And in their minds, there was nothing worse than another communist victory in Central America.
Nobody has ever been prosecuted for the massacre at El Mazote. Eddie tried to cheer us up by showing us a local delicacy.
very good for your health.
It is.
It increases stamina and turgidity.
Your potential hormones.
They claim iguana is a natural Viagra.
Da fuerza. She does believe it, man. She got like 20 kids. Man, it has a good taste.
Oh, that tastes good. Tastes like oxtail. How long does it take to work? Huh? How long does it take to work?
Oh, just wow.
I never got to find out whether or not the iguana works, as I was travelling with an all-male crew. This now included Carlanga, a local musician, who had told us about a small group of young entrepreneurs based in Chalatenango, in El Salvador's countryside. The area used to be a guerrilla stronghold, so campaigning from the ruling right-wing Arena party isn't popular here.
Tony Saka, Presidente, 2004 to 2009. Every single word has been sprayed with black paint.
Pescosado are an aspiring rap group with dreams of stardom. They also run a pirate radio station, which Fat Louis DJs for.
What happened before was that the government was military and they would just shoot people. But now the government is more corporate, so the focus is on money, on corruption. Now, for example, if you get ill and haven't got any money to pay for healthcare, you can just die. You don't even have a right to be healthy.
So basically, the radio station is there. The wire goes directly to a speaker on the next to the shop. And there are 24 speakers like that?
Ajá, sí, o sea, todos los baffles los ponemos en base de cable.
7 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. And like the old guys sitting underneath the speakers, they've got no choice.
Fat Louis was very careful when he showed Carlanga and me around town. He doesn't want everyone to know that he's the man responsible for the speakers.
So it does seem like there are signs that there are some people here with money to spend. The TV's for sale, there's a brand new house, but the people here wouldn't give Arena any credit for that.
Nah, not in this town, because like most of the stuff that's being rebuilt, I guess it comes from the money that people send from the States and other countries. Like there's entire towns in this country that lack young people because all the youngsters have left the States, and that's pretty sad.
The boys then took us to a club just outside town where they host parties and perform.
Tequila, $3.
Yeah, we're here.
No muerta, they'll bite. They won't bite. You make a great video here.
He's drunk.
Pues come mierda.
Comer la mierda es la parte más amarga. De padre paso 4 veces más largas. Marcas, cargas. La consecuencia de que vengas un dinero con confianza avanza. Comer la mierda es la parte más amarga. De padre paso 4 veces más largas. Marcas, cargas.
But although the boys clearly knew how to entertain, back in the city, a good time was slightly harder to find.
Going with the rockers.
The 24 or so people in attendance seemed to be enjoying themselves.
They've scored the first knockdown, so if they score another knockdown, they've won.
But I'd been told that this being El Salvador, the wrestling was genuinely violent, and that even the crowd often ended up involved. Perhaps what I saw should have filled me with optimism.
So Sundays they do this.
They do. Like some of them are cab drivers, and some of them are car mechanics.
Back on a more serious note, we went to the Arena party headquarters, which includes a small museum for the party's founder, Roberto D'Aubuisson. His son is now an Arena congressman.
He was at first Salvador, second Salvador, third Salvador. We believe that Salvador has to have...
Roberto D'Aubuisson is almost universally referred to as the founder of El Salvador's death squads.
How the history remember my father. He was the hero of the liberty in Salvador. He was the hero of the democracy in El Salvador, but also of the free world.
People had complained to me that Arena have done nothing with their 15 years in power. What should we go to if we want to see signs of Arena progress, material progress on the ground? If we need to go tomorrow to see something, what should we go and see?
Infraestructura.
You have to. I don't know if you went to the east of the country, to San Miguel.
Yeah.
You've been there?
We've been there. We've just come out of the meeting, and not even 100 metres outside the gate, there are two people with some dogs going through the skips that are in the car park of the Legislative Assembly. I asked him what progress he was making because we hadn't seen much, and we'd seen a lot of poverty, crack addiction, glue sniffing, and he said we're making lots of progress for the poor people, and Arena is the party for the poor people, but it's slow, and you know they're starting from scratch because the country was destroyed during the war. During the war, those who spoke out against the government were routinely killed. Father Cortina is the only survivor from a group of priests who were at the forefront of the campaign to expose the death squads. The Archbishop of El Salvador, Oscar Romero, publicly begged the US to stop giving military aid to his country's government. 6 days later, he was assassinated while saying Mass.
So these are the clothes that the priests were wearing?
The priests were wearing.
And they were taken out the back and laid on the ground?
Yes.
And just shot in the head?
They shot them in the head. And this is part of the earth that was soaked with the blood.
Why were those priests targeted?
The most persecuted thing in El Salvador has been the truth. Now they couldn't kill the truth, and they couldn't find the truth. So they killed all those who spoke up the truth.
The truth was that the US was backing a violent military government which the Salvadoran people were fighting to get rid of. According to Father Cortina, this had little or nothing to do with communism.
So I went to say Mass. It was very dangerous to go, but still I went. And one of the campesinos, one of the peasants, had some sort of speech saying that they were Marxists. So after the Mass, I asked him, what is Marxism for you? So that I could send my children to the school, that I do have a plot of land where I could work. I mean, this type of things. I can go to the hospital and get medical attention. For that, for him, that was communism. That is what he wanted. And this is those bullets.
It was shot at you?
Yes, those two bullets. I was driving the Jeep, sharpshooter.
And this was after the other 6 had been killed here?
The bullet went some like 1 inch, 1.5 inches from my head because I sat underneath and put a ruler to, and there were less than 5 centimeters.
And George W. Bush came here recently, I think on the anniversary.
Yeah, the anniversary, Romero's anniversary, I mean.
And he said this was a shining example of successful American policy.
Yeah. Well, at the end you cannot really pay any attention to what they say. They are so cynic. They are such big liars.
Father Cortina also said that little has actually changed since the end of the war. Just as many people are dying, even if the causes of death have changed. Lucy Luna works for an NGO that helps those at the bottom of the ladder. The growing number of Salvadorans living on rubbish dumps.
So during the 1780s, this was a dumping ground for the bodies of the victims of the death squads?
Yeah, this was, yeah. A lot of people most of them teachers, you know, that were like helping people during the war, that were not involved in any political party.
And the bodies were burnt when they were dumped?
They just leave them.
But today, the dump is constantly on fire.
Who actually lights the fires?
Son.
Really?
Yeah. Burns itself.
Up until lunchtime, the dump is fairly quiet, as families wait for the first garbage trucks to arrive.
So how many families are living on this site?
Around 1,000 families.
1,000 families?
Yes. Yes, I'll live around the dump.
And they're living pretty much entirely off the dump?
Yes, they live from the dump.
And every day trucks come and dump fresh waste here?
Every 15 to 20 minutes there comes a truck with 8 tons of garbage.
8 tons? And then there's a rush to get the fresh garbage straight from the trucks?
Yeah. But most of the children look for cans. They're here with their families to collect some cans because that's the most well paid.
As well as food, people look for anything they can sell to be recycled.
The guys that are dropping the waste off know that people want to go through it, so they're just shoving it off with a fork slowly so they can go through it as it lands. They're not putting it all in one big dump so people have got to work through it. And they're not fighting, are they, when the truck unloads?
No. And I think it's because there's enough garbage for them. I think one day it's not going to be enough garbage and they're going to start fighting each other.
More people are coming here because the families are growing in size?
Yeah. ¿Y vos qué haces? ¿Una muñeca? Enseñámela. Enseñame la muñeca. Yeah, some of the children look for toys.
Oh, she found a little doll.
Yeah, she's happy.
And do the kids get sick often?
Dice que si los niños se enferman con frecuencia.
They get coughs, fever, they get sick.
De gripe, flu. Y del estómago también. Stomach. Pero aquí si uno no tiene $1.
If you don't have $1, you can't go for a checkup.
Que antes lo habían dejado gratis.
So she literally just now?
Yeah,
she said to you?
She just said that if I want the baby, the two girls, because she said that she's too old and she doesn't have anything to eat, so she wants to give her daughters away, and she haven't found a place to put them. And she just asked me right now if I want them.
So she's been out looking for someone to
she
give the girls
said
to?
Yeah, she said that she had been looking for someone to take care of them because she can't. ¿Qué tienes ahorita? Y este lo venden también. ¿Y a cómo venden la lata?
A 2 por centavo.
A 2 latas por centavo. 2 for 1 cent.
So it's got about
¿Cómo cuánto tenés aquí?
5 or 6 cents worth there.
¿Cómo cuánto? 18, tenés 18 centavos. Y esto es hecho toda la mañana. 18 cents for the morning.
People might be poor, but at least the war was over. Julio, an old friend of our guide Eddie, had invited us hunting for the weekend to show us how well former enemies were now living together.
You supported the government and military. You've got 1 ex-gang member, 1 ex-criminal, all sitting on the fire, enjoying themselves.
He has his side, and I have my side. I respect his opinion. He respects mine.
People aren't fighting for their ideas anymore.
There are still some people who like to fight about that. But I think mostly what we want is just kind of have peace, have a stable democracy.
Yo respeto la opinión de cada uno y tengo amigos.
I respect everyone's opinion.
Formas algunos que son del
I've got friends from the left, Frente, and from the right, Arena.
que son del PN y así un montón. A mí eso.
I respect their opinions and they respect mine.
Yo respeto la opinión, ellos me respetan la mía.
We're pretty good friends with them. If everybody could be that way, I mean, imagine how different it would be everywhere.
There's no reason why not, is there?
But it wasn't quite as safe for the local wildlife.
Well, we came here to go hunting, and they gave me this stick. And we found a cow.
Come on.
I think the idea is we're supposed to block off an armadillo and we're supposed to hit it over the head with this.
The next day started at 5:30 a.m. And someone had managed to catch breakfast.
Fresh, organic armadillo and beans and a fried egg. My Sundays don't even start till about 12 o'clock.
You don't have this back home?
No, not as far as I'm aware. Just have to not look at the actual thing sitting there next to you because it doesn't look very appetizing, but it tastes good.
And your ideas were different.
Yeah.
10 years ago. Now you respect what the other one says. Not like it was before. If you didn't respect what I said, I shoot you.
Yeah.
Or you get shot.
Or even if I suspected that you disagree with me.
I would recommend you dive, but feet first.
El Salvador has a long list of problems, but for that afternoon at least, it didn't feel like war would become one of them. Panama has always had a special place in America's heart, for one reason. The Panama Canal was completed in 1914, and the 5 miles of land either side of it were considered sovereign US territory. We built it, said Ronald Reagan, so we own it. It cost an average of $28,000 to sail through the canal.
It cost about $200,000 for a ship this big to come through the Panama Canal. But that's much cheaper than having to sail all the way around South America. Every year the Panama Canal makes about $600 million.
This was and still the keyboard for this computer. This was designed, it was built, and it was installed in 1910 by GE.
You see another sign say, and if you turn that knob, those knobs, and then those knobs, you open the gates of the locks of the Panama Canal.
But the Americans weren't the first to try and cut through Central America. When the French tried to build the canal, there were at least 20,000 people who died. They're saying there are estimates that go as high as 40 or 45,000 people dead. So the French failed and the Americans came in and succeeded. But actually, if you look at all these pictures, the blood and sweat that went into actually building the canal was cheap labour, black labour, mostly from the West Indies. There's one white guy directing operations. Panama was also home to a US base called the School of the Americas. To many, the school was no more than a breeding ground for military dictators and right-wing death squads. Manuel Noriega was one of many infamous graduates from the school, which is now a 5-star hotel.
This is where they took classes?
Yes. Major, captain, lieutenant, the first lieutenant, a second lieutenant. He live here.
How many American soldiers? Thousands.
Thousands and thousands. It's a chain, all the chain.
Fidel was trained here in the 1980s and later became one of Noriega's bodyguards. Documents declassified in 1997 prove that training programs here advocated execution, torture and extortion.
This is for the ordinary soldier, not the officer?
No, not the officer.
Military school, captain, general, Gerardo, Barrios.
Yeah, this is Ecuador.
No, El Salvador.
Ecuador. Salvador, yes, Salvador. In Salvador, yes.
So this was the mess room for the El Salvador military, and either side of their emblem, they've got a big soldier with muscles like Rambo, a hand grenade, a knife, and a huge baseball bat over his shoulder with spikes stuck through the end either side. Apparently, one of the American trainers here later said that the El Salvador soldiers were among the worst, and it was difficult to persuade them not to cut off people's ears when they were interrogating them.
Training for the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the different.
Every day.
Every day. Every day. My company said, "Oh no, good. I like sleeping."
I asked Fidel if it was true that this was a school for murderers and torturers.
Long year and you work for it. All the people say, military not good, man. Why no? Why no? I asking why no? Say me why no? Shit. Nothing speaking. Only say military no is good. Why no?
Fidel's belief was that the school alone didn't turn people into monsters. And he was living proof of this.
Mono, monkey, here.
You can see him.
The monkey here. I eat a monkey in my school and the supervisor in the jungle.
Yeah?
Yes.
Nice.
But Panama's most famous resident didn't have such a clean record. Noriega had been passing secrets to the CIA since he was a teenager and was trafficking drugs at least as early as 1971.
Big. Yeah, still there, Noriega, the tiles. Nobody looted the tiles or smashed the tiles? No. It's been smashed a little bit. People have tried to take the tiles off, but... Look. See this? The tiles were made in Bogota, Colombia. Yeah, big padlock. Apart from the bird cages and the plaque with his name on, there's no sign of him at all.
The Americans invaded Panama on December the 20th, 1989, and no one is quite sure why. But the canal was due to come under Panamanian control in just 11 days' time, and Noriega couldn't be trusted with such power.
So all of the area inside the fence here was Noriega's base?
Y afuera, hasta allá, toda esa casa.
All those houses? All the houses here?
Sí, todo eso.
Over 10,000 people lost their homes during the invasion of Panama, and all for the capture of one man, whose worst crimes were committed when he was a loyal US ally.
You know, normally when they see somebody...
We soon found ourselves surrounded by a number of heavily armed policemen.
They were different. There were different kind of police from...
Right, the police are corrupt now.
That's what she said, yes.
But back in Noriega's day, they were not corrupt. Okay, so the policemen have just come up to us. The policemen who they say are now corrupt and didn't used to be corrupt in Noriega's day. They said to us we should be very careful because someone's going to nick our camera. Oh, there's two more there. We thought we were being followed and apparently we were being protected. Okay.
Los gringos no iban a hacer la casa, ¿sí? Pero entonces llegó el presidente Endara y no quiso que los gringos hicieran la casa, para venir ellos a hacer esa porquería uno.
They owe me by people, by Chorrillo, they have to pay.
They promised to pay? Back then they promised?
They get the money and spend the money.
Endara?
Endara.
President Endara
yeah.
Took the money and spent it somewhere else?
Yes.
So yeah, he's saying what everyone else has said so far, which is the Americans did give compensation for all the damage done here, for all the houses that were burnt down somehow, but that the president who the United States put in power on the day of the invasion kept the money for himself. Although these concrete houses have all been built since the invasion, but they're saying that their housing was much better than this before the invasion.
But most Panamanians were feeling optimistic. We were a few days away from presidential elections, and everyone was being promised new jobs, new houses, and new hope.
Where will he speak? Martin, is he there or there?
It's over here.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Your man, Martin, is the favourite?
Yes.
He's in #1 position?
It's #1.
And what will happen when he wins? He'll have a new job?
Yes, why not?
Position?
Yes, why not? Yes. It's #1.
But for now, people have to keep earning money any way they can. For many, that means that the only legitimate way out of poverty is to take a gamble on something like boxing, where only a tiny few are likely to succeed.
The boxer was getting roughed up towards the end of the fight, and one of the cornermen stepped into the ring to try and tell the referee to warn him or pull him off. And that means instant disqualification. As soon as one of your cornermen steps into the ring during the fight, you're disqualified. The crowd went crazy, threw beer into the ring, and almost had a riot on our hands.
There are 2 days to go before the election, so we have time to visit an island that advertises unsurpassed beauty, relaxation, and adventure. Unfortunately, the owners of the island weren't told what else was there. Juan Mendez was hired by the government to investigate what's been found here.
So this is the first one you found?
This is the first bomb we found. This is an M78 500-pound chemical weapon.
Okay. They found 8 so far. The first one they found was 500 pounds. The following 7 they found were all 1,000 pounds each.
Panama was the only place where the US, Britain, and Canada carried out this type of experiments with chemical weapons.
So in '97 they ratified the Chemical Weapons Convention, And at the same time, they said they have not left chemical weapons in any country, any foreign country in the world.
Well, actually, that's not the way the declaration is drafted. I mean, you either declare that you have chemical weapons abandoned somewhere or you do not. They did not declare chemical weapons having been abandoned in Panama or anywhere else for that matter.
Okay.
The Organisation for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons put tags on the bombs so that any movement could be monitored.
Well, you can see that this electronic device, which reads here OPCW, emits an electronic signal to a satellite in outer space, which in turn allows for OPCW to keep tags of the bomb, that it's not removed, that it stays in place and so forth, and also for the inventory of the total amount of bombs on the island.
It's been officially acknowledged that this is an American chemical bomb.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
This bomb was found by a child.
This bomb was found by the granddaughter of one of the owners of the island, indeed.
So most chemical weapons have a shelf life of much less than 10 years, but if this is mustard gas, it's very different. There's a protective gel forms around the exterior, and the interior can stay active for decades.
The Americans have said that they feel no obligation to clean up land that is not fit for commercial or residential development.
With 3 boats, a load of quad bikes and jet skis, this is the land not fit for commercial or residential development.
The owner's son says that most of the island is too difficult to search, but based on the US's own figures, there could be as many as 3,000 unexploded bombs here.
Also, we think they had a network of electricity all over.
Right.
Yeah. This guy rolls, you see the position it's at, it rains, erosion, rolls, bomb.
Last time we were here, the bomb was probably 5 meters up here, and now it's moving down this way. We're getting ready to go into the rainy season again. Probably it'll move again this year.
I asked the foremost expert on chemical weapons from the OPCW when he was here. I asked him about how dangerous these old weapons were. If somehow the danger would diminish in time and so forth. And he said, his words were, one, it only gets worse.
Recently, the US offered to pay for 7 bombs to be cleared, but in exchange they wanted to be released from any future obligations.
Any particular places
But you agree with their statement that this land isn't right for commercial or residential development?
Is that what they say?
That was one of the responses at one point.
Why is my lodge doing so good?
Back in Panama City, it was election day.
I going to my bottle, to put in here in my bottle, in the table and the box. For my candidato, yes, maybe the futuro the president of Panama, Martín Torrijos.
As predicted, Martín Torrijos has won, and people like Fidel hope that means new jobs.
You'll have your old job back?
Yes, maybe, yes, I don't know.
According to a recent UN poll, over half of Latin Americans would support an authoritarian government if it solved their economic problems. A number of Panamanians told me exactly the same thing. For the more optimistic, like Fidel, who's still waiting to hear about his old job, expectations are dangerously high.